Stoicism, Epictetus Discourses, Discourse 125, 1.25, on facing difficulties. Guard what is your own, and don't desire what is someone else's. Never be troubled, and never give in to fear. Self-respect is more important than reputation. To understand this, you must reflect, listen, read, study, and learn. Ask yourself, how do I behave? Would I like someone who behaved as I do? Would I befriend someone or help someone who did the things I do the way that I do them? When answering these questions, remember that most people are just acting, caught up in a role, or just playing a game. You should never have to pretend to be whom you truly are, but to be whom you truly are at all times. You must know yourself and be true to yourself. Think of Socrates as a prime example of a man who both knew himself and was himself at all times, especially when it counted. He wasn't just pretending or acting. His reputation originated in a prophecy given by the oracle at Delphi to his friend Chaerephon. Chaerephon asked the Delphic oracle, who was the wisest man in all of Athens? And the priestess replied, to his surprise, that it was his friend Socrates. Now Socrates reacted to this news with great puzzlement, for he was sure that the oracle would not lie. But yet he was only all too well aware that he had no high wisdom and no specialized knowledge. So in order to test the oracle, or to prove her wrong, Socrates sought out and questioned Athenian men who were highly esteemed for their wisdom. First he interrogated the politicians, then the poets, then the skilled craftsmen. In questioning the politicians, he found them to all think highly of themselves, but that they knew really nothing very much at all. And for the poets, while they were capable of writing great works, they seemed incapable of explaining anyone else's writings. Furthermore, these poets seemed to think that they could speak intelligently about all sorts of subjects, but they would prove themselves quite ignorant of anything outside of their realm of expertise. Then, when it came to the craftsmen, Socrates did indeed find men who had truly great knowledge in their craft. But their expertise was limited to their field. And when they tried to speak on fields outside of their expertise, they would show themselves to know nothing, though they thought themselves to know all. In each case, Socrates affirmed that he would rather be as he is, knowing that he knows nothing, than to be inflated by a false sense of his own greatness. After his service in a war, Socrates devoted himself to his pastime, that is, to his passion, the pursuit of truth. His reputation as a philosopher, literally meaning a lover of wisdom, soon spread all over Athens and beyond. Finally, he realized that he was the wisest man in all of Athens, not because he himself was truly wise, but because he alone was prepared to admit that he was ignorant, and he would not pretend to know something that he did not. When he started sharing his findings with his fellow citizens, a following grew among the young men. And for this, he was hated and despised and eventually imprisoned and poisoned. It was his ability, his strength to stay true to himself and true to his calling, and his willingness not to be compelled to speak against the truth or against his mission. These are the things: his lack of compromise, his ability to stick to it, that we should look at. For Socrates is a great example of how to deal with difficulties. Even when facing death by poison or escape and exile, he stayed true to himself and his principles. One of the things we find when we study Socrates closely, or indeed any philosopher, as it relates to our lives and the human experience, is that we each play roles throughout our day, and we play different parts depending on the group and situation. We only go along so as not to spoil the game. But what happens when someone wants you to assume a role which you refuse to play, a role which they cannot compel you to act out? For Socrates, that meant taking poison himself, or taking the poison himself, and not the easy way out of prison with the help of his friends. So let us say I want to play messenger, and he over there wants to play king, but you want to play loving father to your children, and not the loyal servant to a king. So then the question becomes, how long should one obey the rules of a role, of a play, of a game? The answer: as long as it is fitting, appropriate, and profitable. What is fitting and appropriate? That depends on your own good conscience and ethical standards. That which I can tolerate in another may be more than you can bear. That which you attach value to plays master while you its slave. That on which you place the most value is what you worship. So be careful on what you choose to hold up as valuable, and that which you hold up as your God. If someone gets angry at you and hurls insults at you, picture them yelling these epitaphs at a stone upon which they stubbed their toe and stumbled. Their words can no more admonish the stone, change the fact that they trip, than change the fact that they were upset or offended by you. Realize how ridiculous it would be to watch them yell at that stone, and then realize how ridiculous they look yelling at you. Yet you reply, but I want to sit with the in crowd, or I want to eat lunch at the popular table. Well, why would you want that? The majority of people spend more than they have, are unsuccessful at work, and are average at life at best. Why would you want to fit in with them? It is we who create aggravation for ourselves. We want to study and practice anything else other than the habits that will make us successful and free. But you'll say, philosophers speak in paradoxes and always contradict themselves, or religious people are all hypocrites, or this good thing can't be achieved by a normal person. The problem is not hypocrisy, nor apparent contradictions, nor the difficulty in attaining the goal. For science and medicine are full of such things that we accept as true, if we wish not to be thought of as fools. The problem is your ignorance. For example, getting injected with a dead virus to kill or prevent a living infection. Cutting the eye with a laser to improve its sight. Letting a surgeon cut you to fix an injury. If you were ignorant of medicine and science, these things would seem like hypocritical paradoxes to you, and you would be wrong. So ask yourself, what things am I wrong about currently? What assumptions do I hold out of ignorance? This is Ramon. The channel is Alpha 4. Peace, like, and subscribe. Please comment down below, and I'll talk to you all next time. Have a great night.